The madness is back and I'm ready for it. So today I'm going to give you my predictions and my thoughts on each of the games for the first 2 rounds this weekend of March Madness. Let's waste no time. Let's get right into these picks. First of all, I'm not covering any of the 1 seeds in the first round. We'll talk about them in the second round. Automatically go through your bracket and just put them to advance against the 16 seed. Not going to happen this year. One thing I do want to mention though, as I don't mean any disrespect to these 16 seeds, the playing field is getting a lot more evened out. Alright, we're going to start in the South. And the first game on Thursday is West Virginia versus Maryland. When you think of a West Virginia Bob Huggins team, you think of defense, but this is not really the case for them this year. They have a BPI of 23, but Maryland's is just a little bit better, and I think Maryland can disrupt them and make them score a lot less than their average. So my dad might be mad at me for this, but I like Maryland. They got balanced scoring, they got balanced rebounding as a team, and what I love the most, solid guard play. I think Jameer Young is going to get them past this one, but I don't like them going any further than that. Alabama will beat, not completely obliterate, what will beat whoever wins out of this in the second round. So go ahead and put Alabama in the Sweet 16, wouldn't bother me at all. San Diego State and Charleston. I know a lot of people are liking Charleston here, and the 12 seeds have had their way against 5 seeds in recent memory. And I get why. They're a deep team and they can score the ball. And I do have them winning in one of my brackets. For the majority though, I have San Diego State firmly. I know they're 0-2 versus the top 25, but they'll be good enough to beat Charleston in a very close game. Moving on to Virginia and Furman. There's also been some buzz about Furman. I would say don't fall in this trap. Virginia's too good to lose to them. No offense to Furman, but they haven't played anyone. They have a high points per game, but Virginia slows you down. Everyone knows that, and they will slow down Furman. That brings us to San Diego State and Virginia in the second round. I like Virginia. San Diego State has experience, as they usually do in the tournament, and they play good defense, but Virginia doesn't turn the ball over and plays good defense. It's always a good recipe in the tournament. I think San Diego State is a little bit deeper, but it's a bad matchup overall. Creighton versus NC State. I'm going to try to keep this one simple. I went Creighton in every single bracket of mine. I personally, nothing against you, I don't think NC State should be in the tournament. Baylor and UC Santa Barbara, go ahead and put Baylor. And this brings us to Baylor and Creighton. I'm penciling in Baylor all day, every day. I think Baylor has a chance to go on a strong run. Baylor to me is a team that if you're looking for someone other than a 1 or a 2 seed that could potentially go to the Final Four, I think Baylor fits the criteria better than anyone else really. Alright, moving on to Missouri and Utah State. So far I've given you no upsets, and I think this region was actually greatly done in terms of who's ranked higher than who. I think Mizzou, I think they're too good offensively. Utah State 0-2 against the top 25. That takes us to Arizona and Princeton. Go ahead and pencil in Arizona. They're hot right now, and Princeton just doesn't have enough. Then that brings us to Missouri and Arizona. I like Missouri to upset them in a good old-fashioned shootout. I know Arizona is hot, but the hot streak comes to an end. Missouri upsets them. One thing I will say quickly is these 7 and 10 matchups, both of those, the 7 and 10 seeds are very capable of beating the 2 seeds this year. I think a couple of them go down early. We are in the Midwest. We have Iowa versus Auburn. As of right now, a lot of people are picking Iowa. It's a perfect time to go with Auburn and get your upset. It's not an upset to me. The spread is 1.5. I think that's perfect. Auburn will defend you. There is a guy by the name of Broom who gets 2.3 blocks per game, and they are very good at defending the 3. They're not great at shooting the 3 themselves, but I think it's enough to get past Iowa, which would then put Auburn against Houston in the second round, and that'd be a great second round. But Houston is going to win. Houston's one of the best teams in the country. BetMGM has them as the favorites to win it all, and I agree. Moving on to Miami, Florida versus Drake. Here, I'm going to say it. I'm in love with the Drake pick. They're good on defense. They have the MVC Player of the Year and 4 seniors on the starting 5. This, to me, this screams upset. And that brings us to Indiana and Kent State. Indiana's going to win. They don't turn the ball over that much. Don't fall in love with Kent State, although I'm not going to be shocked if it does happen, but the Hoosiers are too good. Now, Indiana versus Drake. I'm going Drake as another 12 seed that makes the Sweet 16. It happens more than you might think. Now, Iowa State versus Mississippi State or Pittsburgh is tricky because I think Pittsburgh wins, Iowa State definitely wins. And I think Iowa State has the advantage in both games. But either way, I'm going to go on a limb here and say Iowa State. Xavier versus Kennesaw State, pick Xavier. That's all I got to say there. Now, Xavier versus Iowa State. I'm going Xavier. I know a lot of people like that Iowa State pick. I don't like it against Xavier, though. They're a great 6 seed, not against Xavier. Now, 7 seed Texas A&M versus 10 seed Penn State. Penn State has a feel-good story to it, but that's about it. A lot of their numbers don't really impress me against the top 25, and they do have a good offense, but it ends here. Both these teams are hot, but it's set up to be Texas A&M versus Texas. Yes, Texas is winning the first round. And in that case, I have Texas beating Texas A&M in one of the best games of the second round. Right, that brings us to the East with the 1 seed getting the automatic win. We have the 8 seeded Memphis at number 9, Florida Atlantic. I like Memphis a lot here. I think they have the potential to beat the number 1 seeded Purdue as well. Purdue has a gauntlet to get through. Now, they're good enough to do it, but boy, they are in the toughest region, in my opinion, with Duke, Michigan State, North Carolina is in it. You got Marquette, Kansas State, and Tennessee. That's a doozy. That being said, I am going to take Purdue to win, but in a couple of brackets, I do have Memphis beating them. Memphis is very good. They've played Houston close all 3 times. They won the last time, even though Houston's best player, Sasser, was not there. Still, this is a good team, a team that I thought was better than an 8 seed. We'll see. Duke and Oral Roberts at the 5-12. I have Duke because it's Duke. But they've been in these situations before, and they've gotten beaten, a la VCU. Number 4 seed Tennessee versus 13 Louisiana. I have Tennessee. I like Tennessee a lot. Now, they could get upset. Tennessee's been known to be kind of underwhelming in the tournament, but they're going to win this one. And then I have them losing to Duke in the next round. Duke is not only Duke, but they are hot right now. Up next, Kentucky Providence. I like Providence to upset them in a couple of brackets. And I'll tell you, a lot of the money is on Kentucky, so if you're looking to, upset some people here, this is a good one to do it with Providence. And you know what? I'm going Providence. K-State and Montana, this one is simple. This is Kansas State all the way, which brings up Kansas State versus Providence. Kansas State moves on. My personal favorite, Friday, 12 p.m., is Michigan State versus USC. I like USC a lot, but Michigan State has what they need to be successful in the tournament, and that's great guard play and Tom Izzo, along with pretty good protection down low as well. Now, those 2 point guards that I mentioned aren't great from the 3-point line, but they've got Joey Hauser, Sam Hauser's brother, to do that for them. Marquette and Vermont, I don't think there's going to be much of a game. I think Marquette wins by 10 plus. And that sets up Marquette versus Michigan State. Now, Marquette's very good. 7-2 versus the top 25. But I've got them on upset alert. Michigan State goes to the Sweet 16. On to the West is Arkansas and Illinois in the 8-9 matchup. I like Illinois. I think they're more talented, even though Arkansas is very talented. It could go either way. I like Illinois to win this, and they are a tough 9 seed. They could beat Kansas. Do not be surprised if it happens. However, I'm going to say Kansas does win that and goes to the Sweet 16. St. Mary's and VCU, 5-12. I think this is a coin flip. I'm going VCU because they always seem to know how to win in the tournament. Now, Connecticut versus Iona in the 4-13 matchup. I got UConn all day. There's not one time I took Iona. Watch, Iona will win now. No, just kidding. They're solid on both offense and defense, plus they're good at offensive rebounds. This is a matchup nightmare for Iona. And then I have 2 12 seeds making the Sweet 16. I have VCU beating UConn in an upset. 6 versus 11. TCU versus Arizona State or Nevada. I think if they end up playing Nevada, TCU will win. But if they end up playing ASU, I think ACU wins. So it depends on who wins there tomorrow. So let me just go safe and say TCU overall. Which then brings up Gonzaga versus Grand Canyon. Gonzaga is used to playing teams like this. Gonzaga will win, and they'll win pretty heavily, I would imagine. That sets up Gonzaga versus TCU, and I got Gonzaga all the way. TCU is good. They have a lot of talent. They've got 3 guys that can get you 12, 13 or better, but Gonzaga is too much for them. Number 7 seed Northwestern versus Boise State, and I got Boise State with the upset. Boise State can rebound, they can play defense, and Northwestern is not great at shooting, and they don't have a lot of depth, especially in scoring when it comes to past the top 2 offensive players for them. While Boise State has 4 or 5 different guys that can get it done. And then I have UCLA beating UNC Asheville pretty handily, and then beating Boise State pretty handily as well, making this a pretty simple road to the Sweet 16 at least. That's my first 2 rounds for you. Let me know the picks that you like in the comment section below. But that's going to be it for me, guys. Have a great day. Go white, go green.